Xiao and Fanfeng Bei have spent a whole year in each other's company and continue having fun in Xian town, not getting too attached to anything and staying free and careless. But a big reveal is coming. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dirain and today we continue diving into the drama and novel Lost You Forever, comparing the two versions of the story. If you missed previous parts, I highly recommend checking them out before you continue this video. And if you don't want to miss my next videos, subscribe!
Wait a minute! Who are you?
At the end of the previous episode, we see Fanfeng Bei and Xiao enter some secret location. If we read the novel, we see that morning Xiao and Bei spent time training her archery. In the afternoon, they visited the dance hall to have lunch and take a nap, and finally they arrived at the gambler's den, run by the Li Jie family. The drama only shows us the last part and never mentions any other activities on that day. They enter, and two masks appear before them. In the novel, it was a rule for all men to wear these masks, and women could just do as they pleased. So, Bei put on a mask first, and Xiao also did that. In the drama, we only see Bei wear the mask for a short time. Not that I complain, otherwise we wouldn't have seen his handsome face, which could have been such a shame. Xiao starts barking in both versions, and in the drama Bei covers her mouth with his hand. In the novel, he simply laughs that if she gets beaten up and thrown away by the Li Jie family, it's gonna be her fault. Once again, he's getting physical in the drama. First, they went to the dice table and both won some money there. The drama doesn't show this part, it goes straight to the slave arena, but also cuts some things. First of all, Bei and Xiao watched more than one fight, and each time they made a bet on the winner. Nevertheless, they both didn't get overexcited about the fights as all the people around them seemed to be. In this last fight, Xiao bet on another slave who ended up dead. But the winner also didn't look much more alive. His eyes like stained glass, and his whole body hurtled in the corner. Seeing his state, Xiao wanted to bet on who could make him find hope again. The drama shows us that Xiao was affected by the fight. She looks distressed. Fanfeng Bei seems indifferent, however, we see him remember his childhood as a slave and say that as long as the heart dies, there's no hope left. And that's what makes Xiao want to bet. Bei looks surprised and he's literally smitten, just let's admit it. The novel Bei didn't show any emotions apart from smiling and saying that the idea is interesting. In both versions, Xiao is allowed to go first, but in the drama the slave doesn't move and keeps being in a trance-like state as she approaches, whereas in the novel he's a bit aggressive. He grabs her hand wanting to crush it, but realizes that she has no spiritual power, and he also has a feeling that she won't harm him. The novel Xiao takes off her mask, smiles at the slave, hugs him and tells him that there is something beautiful in this world that is worth living on. The drama Xiao comes closer and tries to take his hand, but he's too timid. Then she says the same phrase from the novel. Fanfeng Bei can barely hold his laughter in both versions and comes to the slave next. Surprisingly, his words seem to have awakened the slave, who immediately looks more alive. Shocked, Xiao doesn't understand how this could happen and keeps asking what Bei told that slave. In the drama, Bei leans in and whispers that it's a secret. In the novel, they get out, he takes off his mask and tells her that if she hugs him too, he might answer. Xiao turns around to leave and Bei grabs her hand and tells her that he really wants her to hear it. Now it's time for Xiao to be playful, as she says, barely holding her smile. "How are you going to beg me?" Bei is not the one who can find the words. He tells her that he will hug her and use his man's charm on her. She shoves him, but he holds onto her arm and explains to her exactly what he has told the slave. After Bei tells her that maybe he really was once a slave in the arena, Xiao stares at him in shock and asks him, "Who are you?" In both versions, he meets a question with another question. "Who do you hope I am?" Some translate it as "Who do you wish me to be?" But I personally like the version with hope, because it seems like Bei asks if she secretly hopes that he is Xianliu. Xiao, who couldn't feel anything with her bag anytime she tried, puts her hand on her heart and then on his heart and discovers that both their hearts beat in unison. I'll read out this part from the novel. Xiao was confused. She once thought that Fanfanbei was Xianlo because Xianlo had 9 heads and 81 forms. One of these forms was perhaps Fanfanbei, but Fanfanbei was so different from Xianlo. Then Xiao thinks about all the things he's done for her, patiently helping her pick the perfume in the flower store, letting her eat the tastiest parts of the food they've had, going behind her in the forest because the second person could have been hit by the branches that were swinging after the first person went past them. She asks herself, how could Xianlo talk to her tenderly? How could he carefully take care of her? How could he patiently spend time with her? She thinks that only such a playboy as Fanfanbei, who knows women's hearts, could do something like that. She had already accepted that Fanfanbei was just Fanfanbei, but now she just felt he was Xianlo, and she couldn't explain it. Xiao told Bei that their hearts beat at the same rhythm and waited for him to reply. He simply put his hand over hers and said, yeah, it sure seems like they're beating together. They stood there in silence, looking at each other until a carriage stopped nearby and Fanfan Yiying came out to greet her brother. Of course, she wasn't alone. Tu Shanjin was with her. Seeing Jin made Xiao feel a bit conflicted. So she was spending time with Fanfanbei for 16 months at this point. At first, she didn't know his intentions and thought he was simply trying to get to her brother through her. She never hid the fact that they were hanging out, partially because she wanted Jin to know, and waited for his reaction, but none came. In the end, she decided to forget about Jin and enjoy Bei's company. And as soon as she did, Tu Shanjin showed up. Yiying, Bei, and Jin have a chat. Both Yiying and Jin try to persuade Bei to come with them to the Tushan residence and to take a carriage with them. Bei refuses the offer and tells them he needs to take his friend home first. In the novel, Yiying doesn't recognize Xiao in the dark and even says that there's no need for Bei to introduce his friend to her, which is quite different in the drama, where Yiying asks about the identity of Bei's friend herself. Also, as soon as Tu Shanjin suggests they take a carriage together, the drama Xiao replies that there is no need and says, Bei and I were in the casino for several hours and need to take a walk now. Then she takes Bei's arm and they leave. In the novel, Xiao doesn't speak and doesn't even look at Tu Shanjin in this whole scene, and it is Bei who waves at Xiao and tells her they should go. And also, in the drama, she calls him Bei, clearly to make Tu Shanjin jealous. So she is using Bei to play with Jin, and it is not going to be the last time she does that. That same night, Xiao went to Sanxuan's residence and found Anian and Haitan. She asked Sanxuan about Tu Shanjin and Yiying, and Sanxuan told her that all the big families send their children to Xi'an every couple of years to gather information. In the drama, we see Tu Shanjin visit Sanxuan and ask him about his service as Minister of Canals. Hearing that it's not going smoothly, he suggests Sanxuan ask Fenglong for advice. But of course, Jin isn't there just to chat with Sanxuan. He wants to see Xiao, who is at the Zhaoyun peak at the moment. And in the drama, this is when Anian arrives, confusing both Jin and Xuan because they are told that the princess arrived, but it was kind of the wrong one. Meanwhile, Xiao is practicing her archery, but she seems to be in a bad mood. The Yellow Emperor comes to chat with her and sees her calluses. However, when he tells her about the gloves that ladies wear while practicing, she bluntly states that she wants to learn not for the casual activities like autumn hunting, but to kill people. In the drama, the Yellow Emperor immediately tells her she should find a good husband. He promises Xiao that as long as he lives, she can marry any man she wants. And she doesn't think twice and asks if she can marry someone who's already engaged or someone who is grandfather's enemy. The Yellow Emperor asks Xiao what kind of man she wants, and she tells him that she never really thought about it before. When other girls her age were falling in love, she was basically trying to survive. And now she doesn't trust anyone because even her own mother abandoned her. Why wouldn't a man do the same? If she could find someone who would always choose her above all else, she would spend her life with that man. If not, there's no need for her to get married, and even if her heart wavers, she would do all she can to control herself. Hearing that, the Yellow Emperor replies that she has already had her answer all along. If the man has another woman, Xiao isn't his first choice. If the man chooses to be the enemy of her family, he could easily abandon her. In the novel, this scene unfolds a bit differently. The Yellow Emperor states that Fan Fengbei won't teach Xiao all of his family's special skills, so she shouldn't learn from him anymore. He promises to find her another teacher and have a bow set made especially for her after she gets better. Xiao refuses because Haoling also has a huge armory and she can always ask her father to order a bow for her. Suddenly, the Yellow Emperor asks how her father treats her. When he hears that he is the best dad, he is confused and thinks to himself, Xiao is smart. He couldn't not know that Xiao is. Which ulterior motive does he have? So we get a foreshadowing here, or a confirmation maybe. He advises Xiao not to rely on her father too much because he's still a ruler of an empire and has a lot of responsibilities. He also advises her to choose a good husband, and they have the same conversation as they do in the drama. With one interesting change though. In the novel, Xiao admits that she chose to shelter the weak orphans because she is weak herself, and only when she is with someone weaker than her, someone who relies on her, only then does she feel in control and know they will never abandon her. Looking at her relationships with all of the men in her life, it makes a lot of sense actually. But I wonder why they took this phrase out of the drama. Next up, Xuan is being saved by Tu Shanjin once again. This wasn't in the novel and I won't bother explaining what it means once again because I have done it already. Of course, it is important to show Xuan's struggle on the way to the throne, and naturally Tu Shanjin has to be the savior of the day. Anian gets introduced to the Yellow Emperor and immediately charms him with her manners and attitude. In the novel, Xiao is with them during their first meeting and witnesses Anian's behavior herself. At one point, the servants announce that Fan Fengbei is waiting for Xiao and she gets ready to go meet him. In the drama, Xiao didn't go with Anian and Sanquan, she was in the courtyard getting ready to go with Fan Fengbei. In the novel, Xuan doesn't let her go at first and asks her if she has been avoiding Tu Shanjin. He directly tells her that Jin has been visiting him every day to meet Xiao and Xuan needs his support now. I'll read this out for you. Fan Fengbei is the son of a concubine and has no real power in the Fan Feng family. You can play with him a little, but don't end things with Jin yet. I need him right now. And now to the drama, where he advises Xiao to be careful with Bei and seems hesitant when he tells Xiao about Jin. He also didn't enjoy pushing Xiao toward Jin in the novel. We read that he has suffered a lot of humiliation in his life, but this was the first time he felt utterly powerless and humiliated. Xiao says it's not a big deal, she will meet Tu Shanjin, and then she goes to meet with Fan Fengbei first at the bottom of the mountain. Bei notices Xiao's bad mood and points it out, but gets an arrow pointed at him instead of an answer. Xiao wants to know who he really is, and she will not joke around this time. Bei is not bothered by her and explains that he is the son of a known noble family. He currently lives with his future brother-in-law and his sister sees him every day, so who else can he be? Xiao still replies that if he had lied to her, she will put an arrow through his heart. In the novel, she thinks to herself that Bei doesn't look like Xianliu now. Bei in both versions doesn't seem to take her words seriously and asks who does she hope him to be? That friend that she wants to poison? As he says that, an arrow whizzes dangerously close to him. And yet, he smiles, claps his hands, and praises his teaching skills. He suggests stopping the training for the day because Xiao is not in the mood, but she refuses. In the novel, the scene ends here with the remark that they practiced till mid-afternoon and then left. In the drama, after Xiao refuses to stop the training, Bei helps her shoot another arrow, and we see the way he looks at her, with adoration, care, and respect for her hard work. He takes a look at her hand covered with calluses and says she doesn't look like a princess, to which Xiao replies she is a wild princess. After a moment, Bei asks her, why not forget being a princess and roam the world with him? And just look at the way Tan Jianzi plays it. He hesitates, then asks with a glimpse of fear in his eyes. As Xiao Yao turns to look at him, he tries to squeeze a light smile to make it seem like a casual question. But oh boy, is it not casual at all. Xiao Yao is surprised, however, after a moment she tells him she will go with him as long as he abandons everything. And his expression here can be studied. Her reply gave him hope, and at the same time took all the hope away from him. This phrase was exactly what he wanted to hear. She has just admitted that she is not opposed to the thought of them getting away and being together. Although it doesn't necessarily mean as lovers, but still. Yet the part about abandoning everything is something Xianlu could never do at this point. His responsibilities are not to be taken lightly, and he knows he cannot simply let it all go now. So he starts laughing, and Xiao Yao does the same. She tells him not to try to fool her and adds that he is no bolder than she is. But the camera focuses on Bei's expression and we see pain in his eyes. He knows they both can't abandon everything just like that. At least not yet. In the novel, first they ride their horses through the streets, making everyone stare at them and start gossiping once again. Their initial plan was to go to the dancing hall. However, after being spotted in the city, Bei told Xiao Yao that though he is shameless, he is still hesitant to take the Princess of Haolin to such a place. She replied that he isn't shameless enough and has to work on it, and I like this reply for no particular reason. Actually, Xiao Yao also wasn't that shameless and was afraid her father would hear about her visit to a dance hall, so she suggested resting at Zhang Quan's place. Zhang Quan was with the Yellow Emperor at the moment, so the residence was empty. They arrive and Xiao Yao jumps off the horse, sighs and says that every time so many people are staring at her, she feels like she has done something wrong. And this is where Bei asks her to go roam the world with him. Xiao Yao in the novel thought she called him on his bullshit because when she was out and about trying to survive, he was probably living his best life in his mansion, tickling the servants. Ah, Xiao Yao, little do you know. After having a nap, Xiao Yao awakens to the sound of someone talking and recognizes Jean's voice. In the drama, we also have a hilarious moment of Jean being told that Xiao Yao is in the mansion, getting inside, full of hopes to meet her, and then seeing Fan Bei leisurely sitting there, waiting for him. Xiao Yao initially doesn't intend to stay with Jean and uses Bei to make Jean jealous again, calling Bei by his name and asking him loudly where will they go to have fun now. But as they are out, she suddenly remembers Xuan's words and stops. Hearing she will not accompany him, Bei stares at her and she has that sensation from earlier once again. She feels like Bei is going to sink his teeth into her and can't explain why. After some time staring, Bei smiles and leaves. But Xiao Yao still feels uneasy and even covers her neck with her hand. In the drama, Bei doesn't just stare, he seems really pissed. But if you look closely, he is also hurt. She had just told him she would go roam the world with him, and now she abandons him for another man. Anyone would be pissed. And as he leaves, Xiao Yao also touches her neck, but it is so subtle in the drama that people who have never read the novel probably didn't even notice the gesture or didn't connect the dots. I don't understand why they filmed it if there's no explanation in any form. Maybe they filmed and cut the explanation in the post-production process, I don't know. Xiao Yao and Jean meet, he gives her a purple fish amethyst and says there are no other girls, just Xiao Yao. This last bit wasn't in the novel. Why is it here? For contrast, of course, between Fan Bei, who has had lots of women, and Tu Shanjin, such an innocent flower. And also to play into Xiao Yao's earlier words about wanting a man who will choose her above all else. The episode ends with Bei coming to the food stall by himself. The owner asks him about the girl that came with him the last time, and it rubs him the wrong way. There he is, alone on a lively street of Xi'an. Reminds me of that scene in Qinshui town after he found out that Xiao Yao is the Princess of Haolin. So Xiao and Jin kind of reconcile. In the drama, he tells her that one of his servants has become unloyal and he needs to investigate, and that's the reason he couldn't send her more wine or come in person. In the novel, he doesn't go into much detail first and simply says that he had some things to take care of. Then in the drama, Jin tells Xiao not to worry about Xuan's matter because he promised her earlier and will do his best. Xiao doesn't understand at first and is surprised and pleased that he still remembers his promise made in Tinshui town. In the novel, though, it is her who reminds him of that promise, and it is her who asks Jin to help Xuan a little. The drama is trying to show even more of Jin's goodness, but the result is the same. Xiao and Jin are okay again. While Xuan is discussing politics, Jin is somehow sitting there with Xiao and even tells her that that's exactly where he wants to be instead. In the novel, though, Xuan, Jin, Xingyue and Fenlong were discussing the plan to conquer the Central Plains. After Xingyue and Fenlong left, Jin comes to Xiao's room and explains to her why he couldn't contact her earlier or send her the wine. In the drama, we see Sanxuan coming back from his meeting with Fenlong and Xingyue and seeing Jin leave Xiao's room. He's angry, but what can he do? He is the one who pushed Xiao into Jin's arms this time, and he knows it. In order to get sent to the Central Plains, Xuan orchestrates a big plan to disappoint everyone around and to fool his enemies that he has given in to the merry life in the Xian town and has become someone disgusting and lowly. In order to do that, Xuan starts taking drugs, drinking and spending all his free time at the brothel with his cousins. In the novel, we don't read that it was his plan at first, it only becomes clear later in the chapter. But the drama decided to do otherwise, and it's probably for the better. In the novel, we also have an interesting detail. After Anyan crashes out on Xiao because of Xuan's behavior and insults Xiao's mother, Xiao has an important thought. She thinks about her mother and a man in a red robe. She remembers the way her mother looked at that man, and she can understand that look now. The man in the red robe is, of course, her father, her real father, Xiao or Chichan in the drama. So she also has suspicions about her parents. In a short scene, we find out who betrayed Jin, and now he's able to send Xiao green plum wine again. Seeing the wine, Xiao is glad that Tu Shenjin will be able to help Sanxuan now, since he has solved his own problems, for the time being at least. Tu Shenjin really tries to help Xuan get out of Xiang, because no matter how hard Xuan tries to play the constantly wasted, depressed man, he still needs a reason to travel to Central Plains. Jin and Fenlong are planning to blow up an old palace on the Chenrong mountain. One night, two cousins come to Xuan's residence with the royal badge to search the place and find an assassin who ran from the 5th and 7th uncles. Xuan is totally wasted and can't do anything about the search. While the search starts, Xiao hears someone break into her room. She warns the stranger not to try and take her hostage because it will not happen. However, the stranger still walks towards Xiao and doesn't collapse from her poison. When he came closer in the novel, he sat beside Xiao on the pallet and looked at her. In the drama, he just stood next to the pallet. He was wearing a mask, which we have already seen in the drama, so we know it is Xianlo. Xiao doesn't know it, but her instinct tells her that it's someone she knows, so she reaches her arm to take the mask off. With that, we have come to the end of this video. I hope my analysis brought you joy and made you see something differently, or simply reminded you of the beauty of the novel and its complex view of the main characters. Thank you for watching till the end, leaving a like and commenting. Stay healthy, happy and take care of yourselves. Till the next video!